Max Salazar, and welcome back to my channel, Draconum Dawn, where I read my book to you for free. So if you like this format where I'm reading to you without any charge, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and let your friends know. Let's get some people interested, and hopefully I'll be able to continue doing this for much longer and eventually give this away to a lucky subscriber. All right. Today we're still on part one, and we're going to go ahead and read through chapter 6. So here we go. Moda. What an untrained eye would have assumed was that the panel of transparent material was either photosensitive glass or some type of quartz. It was, however, cohesive titanium dioxide, with properties such as controlled optical transparency, durable strength, and photocatalysis. The Quetz made use of this technology in many aspects for defense and computer output display. What would have been science fiction for the bipeds was ubiquitous in the hidden mountainous caves of these highly developed sentient creatures. Moda approached the polished walls outside of the High Chancellor's receiving room, clutching the Seln update report firmly between her left wing and torso. She listened to her taloned feet click on the granite floors of the cavernous halls, losing herself to the repetitive click-clack tones that echoed. The sound that made her want to fidget, but while on duty, it was important to maintain the utmost level of professionalism. She knew all too well the capabilities of the many sensor types and their quantities throughout the inner workings of the mountain, and maintained many of them digitally from her lab when on duty. She knew that she was being noticed. Still, she allowed her eyes to wander disdainfully, unhappy that the very security equipment she was often responsible for was tracking her. Her feet stopped momentarily as a small hidden nook came to her attention. She did not recall seeing the space that was just large enough to conceal her from the sensors when she led the installation team. She made a mental note and continued another few steps before chirping her access code. At once, a small panel illuminated, and a curt voice ensued. "State your name and business." "This is Dr. Moda, aide to Elder Libor, here to deliver the latest Seln report to Her Excellency and Supreme Chancellor." She cringed mentally after squawking the words. They knew who she was and why she was there. The level of formality made her feathers molt. "Stand by," the voice returned. 2 moments later, the wall seemed to melt away, giving her access to the room, where 2 pristine and very senior guards met her. She entered the space, noting the sounds her talons made, and again did all she could to keep from shivering. Still, she refrained from looking straight at the 2 guards, instead focusing on the grandeur of the main entrance. The 2 oafs, beaming with pride for their assignment and intricately decorated uniforms, moved to take the crystalline titanium report pad, instantly drawing her ire. "That is for the Supreme Chancellor and only the Supreme Chancellor," she rapidly reported. "We don't care. All items and persons entering these premises must be thoroughly inspected," the more senior of them growled in return. "I come in Elder Libor's stead with material meant only for Her Highness. You have no right—" "That is enough," a strong feminine voice boomed. "Guards, we have been expecting her. Admit her immediately." Stoically and without hesitation, the 2 guards moved aside and resumed their post, awaiting the end of their shift. Midday mealtime was approaching, and the behemoths had proportionate appetites to satiate, she thought. Moda, though, noticed how rapidly the soldiers heeded Aquila without hesitation. Another mental note. She, too, was respectful of the Chancellor's personal guard and attendant, maybe more than the 2 oafs that tried to give her a problem. She never did try to play games of rank and stature with the Chancellor's personal guard. Despite her lower upbringing, Aquila was not only in a position of power. She achieved it with much fanfare due to her skill as a formidable warrior, and was personally selected for the post by General Jack many still rotations ago. Aquila received her curtly while maintaining a higher level of politeness that she resented not receiving upon her admittance into the inner chamber by the muscular behemoths. At this point, she understood that her tablet would be inspected without its contents being reviewed. She expected that much. As Akila performed her duties, Moda allowed her eyes to focus along the rest of the pristine space, noting the location of the secretary's desk, where a well-groomed and elderly bird sat, seemingly busying himself away with the schedules and the sort, however not allowing his own side vision off the visitor. He was to her left. To the right, 3 razor-sharp, tachyon-enabled scimitars rested against the wall, one for each guard and the third for the manicured bird. Despite their appearances as relics, the blades held the ability to fire infinite rounds of tachyonic disturbance quanta, purportedly lethal at any distance, limited only by the accuracy of the eyes of the wielder. Beyond Akila there was a hidden door. She knew of its location only because it allowed Akila to step out into the waiting area. Wait one moment, please, and as I consult with Her Excellency, when she is ready for you, I will allow you admittance. Watch what you say and what you do. I will be watching. This last part she uttered with an almost indiscernible growl that sent a chill running down Moda's spine. Of course, she replied softly, with a modest yet forced bow. She would do well to serve as my manicurist, she thought. After what seemed like an eternity to her, Akila reappeared, seemingly out of nowhere, and bade her enter, remaining close by her side. She balled her fingers into a tight fist, but instantly released it, afraid Akila would take it as a threat. However, she was aide to an elder and a potential candidate to the seat when Libor was ready to vacate it. She, too, had position. In the meantime, she would address her unprecedented treatment with her clan elder. She felt her initial treatment to be intolerable. The Supreme Chancellor must have already read the report, so admittance to the chamber meant there were questions. She had anticipated this. The tablet's contents were explosive and would have been delivered by Libor himself, but due to recent internal conflicts, he had opted to inform the Supreme Chancellor under more subtle circumstances. This was why she was sent. It gave the impression that it was nothing more than a regular weekly communiqué. She began to understand that information was power, and whoever kept that information was the one to wield it. Kira, though still very young and naive, was adept in science and mathematics, often impressing her Uncle Val. Akila, too, felt pride, but chose to bury it deep inside. Not fully aware of Kira's intellect, however, Moda found herself in awe of the young leader. According to this, there has been a disruption to work on the dark side. Explain, she demanded. Moda seethed at the way she was tersely addressed by the younger bird, whose mother's dying hand managed to unwittingly give her the chancellery. Externally, though, she was the consummate professional and answered quickly, using her best and most clipped chirps to answer. The automolds immediately stopped production without warning. When interrogated, they replied that they had detected a tachyon burst emanating from the southern hemisphere of Tur. After careful analysis and consideration, however, Elder Libor recommends that they resume work. As of now, there is no credible threat of detection by the bipeds. Yet, the burst could have been used to detect our operations. So why is your elder so quick to recommend that we resume our work there? Well, Elder Libor simply believes that the outburst was and that the algorithms required to discern tachyon data, should it detect our base, is beyond biped capability. Humans will surprise you. Do not confuse their barbarity with ignorance. Besides, your elder will better explain himself tomorrow evening at the council meeting. Kira's face remained stoic, but noted the continued and unprofessional use of the derogatory term. I would like to know the status of water mining operations, production of hydrogen fuel, and the status of our flagship. They are not noted here. Again, Moda stifled a cringe. How this youngling bird, not long coming out of her shell, could so easily demand without consideration of the age and experience of her advisors was beyond her. She would never treat a subordinate in this manner, especially one such as her, whose family lineage was once so well respected. Of course, Elder Libor intentionally left those figures out in order to deaggregate the information for security reasons. As of this moment, water and hydrogen production are at approximately 950 per mil efficiency. There was a momentary halt due to the frigid temperatures affecting the automolds, but solar reflectors were activated to solve the problem. Production has been steadily increasing. As for the ship, it holds at 510 per mil. We cannot proceed any further until hydrogen stores in production are at their maximum, which will take 6 Seln cycles. We do anticipate the automolds to move exponentially towards completion immediately thereafter, with completion exceeding our original timeline by only 1/3 of a stellar rotation. She beamed internally as she executed her highly rehearsed answers without pause or error. Very well. Oh, and please advise Elder Libor that he will proceed with the full report tomorrow. Thank you. Before she had time to respond with a thank you, Aquila was escorting her out of the inner chamber, a powerful grip pulling her by her right wing. The 2 soldiers from the main entrance immediately approached her and escorted her out without uttering a word or squawk. Her muscles tensed at the thought of her insulting treatment. But insults are the windows to surprise. Well, that's it for today, and go ahead and get to Chapter 7 next week. Please comment if you want me to improve anything. And by the way, I spoke to one of our subscribers, and he was asking about the inclusion of graphics in the future, and that is in the works. It will take some time, but hopefully soon, maybe in the next several months, I'll be able to start including some graphics in this. All right. You guys, again, have a great weekend, a great week, and eventual great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all. Thank you.